Hello. Welcome, everybody. Super special event today. We're talking about Q1 earnings season. I am joined by the legend, the OG day trader at Stock Market TV. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny Glick. How you doing, Kenny?
All right, hang on a second. Tell him your husband would never do anything like that. Okay, see ya.
I was I was just telling people never tell your wife about your trading performance. Do you share, or you kind of keep a tight wrap on that?
Oh, the funniest thing is that you know who doesn't want to hear those stories anymore? My wife.
Yeah, okay.
So
So
when I
she's
she could tell by the look at my face, she's like, "Oh wait, did a stock go up after you sold out of it? Ooh, tell me more." I haven't heard that one over the last 25 years.
so she's past the point of caring. That's pretty good. That's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good. You're
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah. She hung up on me yesterday. Yeah.
All right. Look, we're talking about Q1 earnings season today. How to trade it. Kenny has a special process around earnings. How we're trading the highest probability window of 2026. It's not just highest probability, but it's highest reward in a lot of cases too, because earnings act as the catalyst to break out these patterns that we're stalking in the market. And I don't do this with just anybody because I don't have time to be on TV all day, but I always look forward to coming and doing these live events with Kenny for mainly three reasons. He's been doing this forever and he's as good as anybody I know, right? 30-year track record, really figuring it out. He's developed an awesome process around how to trade these intraday waves using VWAP and some other technical tools. It's simple, it's thoughtful, it's intuitive, and he has this clear edge that he demonstrates on a daily basis that we're going to run through today and tell you guys all about. People come to me, Kenny, and they say, Straza, that's great. You know, love your stuff, but a week to a couple months time frame, I want to make a big hit today. I want to enter something this morning and make money this afternoon. I say, I'm not your guy for that. But we have somebody. I said, go to Kenny because, dude, your process really speaks to me because we're using similar things. Just you're doing it on the ultra shortest time frame possible. So I think that's super cool. And I always learn stuff coming on here with you. So I think we should just dive right on in, brother.
Very cool, man. Yeah, and again, I appreciate everything you do because we're always on this same. We tend to be on the same stocks, which is
We do.
interesting. And
Like,
again, I look at the, again, don't take the day trading moniker. I do look at longer time frames. It's just to stay focused. And
yeah,
again, now that we're in earnings season, I tend to look at 3 month charts, 6 month charts, just to get an idea of what those stocks were doing over the last 3 months and 6 months. Plus,
right.
we're always using multiple time frame VWAP. But before we get started, we're having a raging debate. I was just on Yahoo Finance. It's
Uh-oh.
VWAP, everybody. There's no O in VWAP. Okay,
I'm
it's
gonna try.
VWAP. Say it with me, baby. I know it's
I'll
a
try.
tomato kind of thing. I'm trying to make a concerted effort. I want it to be VWAP forever. And I asked people that are not in the industry. I was like, if you saw this as a word, how would you pronounce it? And everybody says VWAP. So let's stick to it, people. Everybody, VWAP, VWAP, and VWAP forever. All right.
It sounds funny to me, but that is the right way to say it. If anybody, Brian Shannon is the one who's popularized this, and that is how he says it. You're right. I worked with some guys early on in my career. I don't know. I think they were like Greek. They talk like they had like marbles in their mouth. It was always VWAP. It was always VWAP. So that's
It
how
is
I developed
it's
that.
actually a 50-50 split. It really
Yeah,
is. Yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to get to the other side.
I get it. I get it, Doug. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
talk to me. Talk to me
All
about
right, we cleared
AMD.
it up. Yeah, so I mean, listen, we're just getting right into earnings. Again, I love myself a slideshow, as you know, and right now we'll talk a little bit about who I am. But just before we get started, I've been in the industry for 30 years. Again, I've had my ups and downs. If you've been in the industry long enough and you haven't had a blow up, you aren't a trader. And I'm really right now in the resurrection mode of my career. It's been a 10-year resurrection, and we're rocking and rolling right now. But this trade that I use now is something that was working way back in 97, 98 when I didn't know about VWAP, and I didn't even use charts at the time. So what I've done, and again, after this last blow up, and again, when I say VWAP has saved my life, it really has saved my life. As a shorter, one of the first things I notice is, hey, these stocks don't like to stay down when they break over VWAP, and they really don't want to stay down if they break over what we call multiple time frame VWAP. Brian Shannon, throwing his name out there again, he calls it anchored. I anchor it to very specific days, and I use it on very specific trades, and that's what we're going to talk about is earnings season. So right now, we're in the heart of it. The banks are coming out, and so far, so good. This is my highest probability trading window of the entire year.
Yep. No, I love it. I mean, you've already been fading like these moves in JP Morgan and friends, right?
Right, right. So again, you got a lot of reasons to be trading these earnings. So talking about JP Morgan, I know again we were talking about this about 3 months ago when we circled some dates on the calendar. There was the Delta Airlines, the JP Morgan, the Morgan Stanley, and obviously Citibank. And also, we're going to talk about this a little bit earlier. Before earnings season got started, we had a trade. It was APLD, it was STZ,
Yeah.
it was the Alcoa. We're going to show you those in a second. But the thing I want to try to mention is that these trades work the best because there's more volatility. And again, if you know that most traders are losing on these type of trades because they're looking at those headlines. The headlines are irrelevant. Once the news is out, then that's where we shine because we're taking advantage of just institutional order flow around those earnings. And because there's more volume, VWAP works better. And when is there more volume? When you have earnings, because that is where you're getting those gaps. So this is a mouthful. I don't know if we have a slide that says this, but this is earnings, gap reversion, volume weighted average price trading. And that is it. And a year from now, when we're doing this little dog and pony show again, it'll be the same. 5 years ago, the same. 10 years ago, it's the same. You know why? It works. And the one thing about trading, right? You have something that works, stick to it. And this trade has been getting better and better because I look at myself as the Pied Piper of VWAP. I am the gospel singer of VWAP. And the more I spread this around, it seems that it's getting better and better because the more people that use it, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more people that understand this trade and join in on it, it works better. And again, these are not small cap stocks that we're just moving because we're all joining in. This is JP Morgan. This is Morgan Stanley. This is Citibank. So that's where we're at right now. And again, a lot of players are looking at those headlines and they think that's the direction you want to go. Sometimes it is that easy, but most of the time we're looking for that reversion trade.
Would you say that like the VWAP and other indicators that you're using actually work even better in heightened liquidity or heightened volume environment, right? You just mentioned like all the traders are at their desks right now. This is earnings season. Everybody's here. Does that indicator get even better in these
Yes, it
times?
does. Yes, it does. Like I said, more
Makes
volume,
sense.
more better. And
Yep.
again, because you have that gap, and you all heard that that you want to close the gap or fill the gap. That's
Hmm.
part of this trade, and that's why this trade works better. And again, just to even dumb it down a little bit more, let's just imagine you owned JP Morgan and you've owned it for the last 3 months. The stock has been rocking, right? So when they report good earnings, we all heard the saying, sell, buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yeah.
This is a adaptation of that. But what this trade does is it gives you permission to take that trade. The reason I'm still doing this after 30 years is that I have my idea, but then I let the VWAP justify and validate that idea. So, okay, you're looking to short JP Morgan, tough guy? Great. Oh, there's that VWAP break. Now I'm going to be shorting that stock. And every trade we put on, limited risk for medium, large, and massive rewards.
I know a lot of tenured traders and market participants who will tell you and mean it in the bottom of their heart, stay away from earnings season, right? You can only make mistakes, too much risk in earnings season. How about just have a process and have the right tools around earnings season? You get some of the biggest moves 4 times a year in earnings season. They tend to be the catalyst to break out a lot of these patterns that we're watching. You can't ignore earnings season. You got to be doing more in earnings season, no?
Absolutely. Yeah. This is exactly the time to be doing what we're doing. And like I was saying, we're going to, again, can we look at the next slide, my friend?
Oh, yeah.
Go. There we go. What we just said.
4 years. What are you talking about?
I'm
What, what,
talking about
what,
a
do, what
trade.
do you mean by this?
I'm talking about a trade that hasn't failed us in over
Wow.
4 years. Now, again, if you're looking
Incredible.
at my face, zoom in a little bit extra right here.
He's serious.
Right now, right, for the last 4 years, this trade setup, okay, I'm not saying I haven't had losing trades, okay, because I am not the best swing trader. I'm not going to pretend to be. This particular setup for the last 4 years has provided us a winning trade every single time it's shown up. Say it again. And our streak, just as early as the other day, was 1,179. We're up to 1,183 now. This trade it's magic, my friends. And again, we're going to get to this later in our little slideshow here, but it's something where you shouldn't believe what I'm saying. And that's why I do it live, Straza. I'm in this chat
Yeah.
room 8 hours a day, finding these trades. I have a knack for knowing which earnings reports are going to be the better ones. I have a knack for knowing where that volume is. I have a knack for this. I should. I've been doing this for 30 years. But the
Yep.
most important thing, I'm there every single day guiding you through those trades. And when you have one of those trades, we'll talk a little bit about maybe Morgan Stanley today. When you have one of those trades where you're expecting the counter trend move and you don't get it, I'm there. I'm your drill sergeant, baby. I'm saying, hey, this one's not working out. You got to cut bait. And again, that is one of the biggest things about trading that most people do. They let those small losses become large because they just don't have that discipline. VWAP and this setup instills the discipline in you. So right there on the chart, it's telling you, please, for the love of God, get out. And when I say VWAP saved my life, it really has. It's changed the way I look at the market, and you really become the manipulator instead of the manipulated.
Yeah, you're not being irresponsible trying to trade the waves and earnings. You're just following your rules. And I mean, I think this is some sort of record, man. 1,179 consecutive winning occurrences.
Right.
That's really cool. And I think the important point here is that this isn't every trade that Kenny makes because it's not always earnings season, right? This is an earnings season setup, and we're here now. It just kicked off literally yesterday.
And
Just
even when,
started.
yeah, and even when we're not in the heart of it, like we just got into, if you look at slide 17, bring up slide 17 for me. I'll just show you a couple of examples of what we did. And this was early as last week. So what you're looking at on that screen right there. And again, what's wonderful about, and if guys use Thinkorswim, right, you could be looking at the option trade on the stock. So I'm sorry, you could be looking at the VWAP setup just using the options because what we trade is at the money, closest to expiration. You never have to ask me which contract. If the stock is
Yep.
35, we're looking at the $35 calls
Yep.
that expire that week because we don't want to pay premium. We're just in it for the day. So this is a classic example of what we're looking at. So if you see, it's a very clean chart, not much on there. Your candlesticks, right? And you see how the stock basically went below the blue, back above
Yep.
the blue, back above the orange. That's
Yep.
our entry. So that's our entry, and you also know where your exit is because it's the bottoms of those candles. Voila! Why am I buying it? Where my stops are if I'm wrong, and then your reward. And then you see how
Wow.
the thing rolled over as it got back down. The trade, as we sell into the move, we raise our stop. We use the blue line as our final stop. Trade's over. And again, if
Wow.
you saw this one, this was a $1.45 contract, and it went to $3. Show me slide 18, just to give you a
Fantastic.
couple examples.
Kenny, do you always do options? Will you do like the common stock and always the options, or how do you
Actually,
do that?
great question, Steve. I'm a combination. I'm a
Okay.
combination of both. When there is an option that is applicable, some options just don't have enough volume. You can get
Right.
the trade right, and the option just doesn't move. There's no liquidity there. Stocks like again, I don't want to give examples, but that's basically sums it up. But with
Yep.
APLD, you see there wasn't that much volume, but at the beginning of the day, wonderful. And again, this was the follow-up trade because the earnings reversal worked that prior day. We go back to that same trade again, one of those
Wow.
standard processes of trading, go back to the winner. And again, what you're looking at right there is the option trade itself. And because we built this script that you get when you join the room, you can trade the options as if they're the stock. That's why we trade at the money. So
Yep.
it's moving in lockstep with the stock. So instead of having to watch the stock and trade the option, watching the stock, you could actually just trade the option. And the next day, the follow up trade on the same stock with the same setup. And again, you see it back below the blue. So we call that the fake out, shake out. And then it breaks back over the blue and the orange. It's a fake out, shake out, 1 minute multi day VWAP reversal. It's a mouthful, but it's fantastic. And this trade continues to work. And like I said, do I do trades that don't work? Of course. But if you stick to this, if you're just getting into the biz, if you're trying to make yourself some money and start doing this, this is the one you want to focus on. And look at this entry. This was a 75-cent contract, wound up going to $5. Show me the
By
next slide.
2 p.m., 6x.
Right. I see a great question here. Yeah. Oh, thank you for answering. If I see guys in the chat room, we'll be taking questions from the Peanut Gallery later on. I love answering questions because that's what I do for 8 hours a day. But we'll get to those questions. And again, yeah. So this APLD, we're not trying to cherry pick here. These were stocks that reported earnings, and you'll see the next one, APLD reported, and also on slide 20 we got STZ. And you'll see this is what I love about the live environment that we're in. So again, what you're seeing on that chart right there is all you'll ever need to know. And that's what is so fantastic about this trade, right? So what are you seeing there? Right before the market opens up, you're seeing the dip, right? That is the fake them out, shake them out, back above prior day VWAP, back above the blue line, bang, that's your entry point. And then woof, the stock takes off. And again, in this case, a couple of hundred shares, you're doing pretty well. And if you could afford to buy 1,000 shares, you're talking about $7,600 in 12 or 15 minutes. But wait, there's more. If you miss the long trade, because we're in an active market, you wait for that proper setup. So again,
Wow.
we'll talk a little bit more about this. You got the faux show bro, and then we have what we call the finger of God, when it tries to rally and then rolls through the VWAP and it goes from the blue to the orange. Not just near the orange to the penny. So after we got done trading the stock on the long side and getting stopped out of the long and taking profit, we're nailing this thing on the short side. And again, that's where a lot of people get confused, especially if you hear us, again, Steve and I and JC and Spencer do the show in the morning, and you'll hear me talking about how I love this STZ. And then later that day, I'm shorting it, telling, oh, it's going to zero. This is the worst stock ever. That's trading, baby. And when you're trading VWAP, you should expect to be on both sides of the trade, kind of like this Morgan Stanley today. And, again, if we get a chance, I'll show you some live trades, but let me show you that next one. That was the Tilray, I believe.
So Kenny is having a dry January, but not abstaining from the booze stocks, right? Do I have that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I have a special affinity towards the STZ. Babs
Yeah.
Glick, which is my mom, her portfolio was basically Constellation Brands and Kimberly Clark for 25 years. So she did pretty
Hey,
well.
been good
Go
ones. Yeah,
Babs. To
that's
go
great.
Babs. So, and again, speaking of dry January, here we got some weed stocks. So again, big fan of the weed. We don't want to get into that right now if you know what I'm talking about. But this trade, again, gapping up on earnings. Look at this
Wow.
clean break. Look at this clean break. You got the VWAP break right there to the open. And what's our target? The orange line. So again, let's take a breath for a second.
And that's a big move to happen in what, 30 minutes?
Absolutely. That was about 15 minutes, bro.
Wow.
So why are we getting in? Gapped up stock. We're waiting for the profit taking to show up. When the profit takers show up, VWAP break. But then, where is it going to go? I'm so confused. When do I cover? How about the prior day VWAP, Holmes? There it goes to the orange line, to the penny. And then look how it just made a home there, battling out between the orange and the blue for the rest of the day. Wonderful trade. And again, this one was a little bit more difficult trading options because, again, the illiquidity. But this is a nice $10 stock plummeting 75 cents. You got yourself 1,000 shares, quick 900 bucks for you. And again, most of these trades are relatively near the open or 15 minutes into the day. Most
Right.
of our day is over about 11:30. Give me slide 20. Give me something like 2023 because this is one of my favorite trades of the year, friends.
Hold on this one, Kenny. Do you
Yeah.
see this a lot? This one's almost similar here. Flip back to the last one, just real quick. Like, do you see this where they wedge and coil between the two VWAP lines a lot, and you get this nice little consolidation mode in between those two levels?
Absolutely, and that's what we call a setup. So later that day, if it does stay below, below today's VWAP, which is the blue, orange
Yep.
line is our proprietary, multiple time frame VWAP that we generated in 2012. We created this script for us.
Wow.
When you do stay between today's and prior day, if you break back above the blue, more often than not, you're going to get a rally into the close. So when you do see that, that's another setup. And again,
Right.
because I'm live in the chat room all day, that's one of those stocks where you're kind of just sitting there, just stalking it for that move. And again, every trade we put on, if you did buy the blue line break, you know that orange line is your stop. So again, clearly identifying the trade. And let's say that one more time. Every trade you put on with us, your risk is defined, limited risk, medium, large, and massive reward. Every trade you put on, limited risk, defined risk, for medium, large, and massive rewards. So let's talk about this Alcoa because this is my favorite trade of the day, and you're gonna have to bear with me on this one. I'm a little
Nice.
jaded. I'm a little cynical. I was
Okay.
born
Why?
into. I went right to the boiler rooms. Awful experience of my life. One boiler room after another. The Wolf of Wall Street, the boiler room, all that movie, the Ben Affleck scene. I lived
Oh
that.
yeah.
I rolled in with my bar mitzvah suit on. They started making fun of me on day one. They're asking me for money to buy a new suit, the whole thing. Not a fan. All right. Luckily, day trading was born around that time, and we didn't call it day trading. We kind of coined that phrase. But
Yeah.
I've always been jaded because I learned market making from a guy that's been in the business from the 60s and 70s. His name was Isaac, was my mentor. Isaacisms. Everybody knows Jesse Livermore. I had
Yeah.
Isaac. Isaac was my Jesse Livermore. He taught me basically whatever he taught me back in the day still works today. And one of the things he said is that market makers are not your friends. They're trying to manipulate the stock. Analysts are not your friends. They're trying to
Yep.
manipulate the stock. And one of
Yep.
the most easy forms of manipulation is the upgrade and the downgrade. So, long story short, Alcoa, one of my favorite stocks. Big, big, big fan of the Alcoa. We've done very well over the last 20, 30 years. If you Google my name and Alcoa, you'll probably find a couple articles written about me. So this stock's in a massive breakout. And
Yep.
here comes JP Morgan downgrading the stock. Do you really think JP Morgan thinks the stock's going down? You think he did some careful analysis? According to Isaac, the phone call was his hedge fund buddy calls JP Morgan and says, "Hey man, I'm trying to accumulate this Alcoa. It's kind of
Help
getting
me
away
out.
from me. It's getting away from me. You think you could
Yeah.
downgrade the stock so it gaps down so I can buy some more? Sure. Yeah, I'll meet you at Stone Street. Guac and chips. Yeah, and 20 grand in an envelope. You got it. Click." So if you don't believe that story, this is where VWAP comes into play. So there it is. That was the downgrade day on Alcoa. So we're sitting there going, guys, stop what you're doing. We're definitely looking to buy Alcoa today. But again, that's just your jaded premise or your thesis, or you're just so cynical. Then you get the faux show VWAP break to the
There you
orange
go.
line. Once again, proving that the manipulation is real. Instead of being manipulated, you are now part of the manipulation or the manipulator. And look at this wonderful trade. You got a wonderful entry, clearly looking at those stops down there, blue line, orange line. And this one was such a good trade that, again, I don't usually stray from the path of righteousness of being a day trader, but this trade was so good that we parlayed it into the swing, which gave us another 8 points over the next couple of days. Let's give it up for JP Morgan. The stock rallied 10 points after he downgraded it. Way to go, fella. He was probably wearing a suit and went to school for this. Yes. Good job. Good job. All right. So that's my piece on the Alcoa. That's
I
why
love
that
what you're
was legitimately one of my favorite trades.
No, I love what you're saying here because this is important. A lot of people will come to find through experience, hey, the market's rigged. Stuff like this, exactly what you're talking about here. Somebody comes with a big downgrade, hits it, then you get a bunch of institutional accumulation off the lows, right? Like somebody was
Right.
waiting for it. A lot of folks will see this and learn this thing and say the market's rigged. You can't win. I'm
Right.
going to take my ball and go home.
Yeah.
What you're saying, though, is the opposite. You're saying the market's rigged. Learn to fucking love it. We can be a part of the rigging. If we just understand it, now we're one of them, right? Let's take advantage of it. Let's use it,
Yep.
as an edge instead of as something that discourages us and tells us, maybe this isn't for me. No, figure it out and just be on the right side. I love that. Love that.
Exactly. And again, somebody once in the chat room said it as plainly as that, said, well, if you truly believe the market's rigged, you should be able to make money. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. We do.
Yes, exactly. So again, here's some of the math that everybody needs to hear. Again, a lot of these trades, right? We run a VIP exclusive elite website. Hit the bid. We've been VIP for years. I've been doing this. Launched my first chat room in AOL. If you guys don't know how old I am, launched the first chat room. I think it was 1996, 97 on an AOL. You were able to
Wow.
launch your own room, and I had some traders hanging out with me, and voila, I am the
Wow.
grandfather of day trading. But just one trade with us, one trade pays for your entire year. If you caught that APLD trade that one day with just 10 contracts, you paid for the whole year on day one. And then we had 6 other trades over the next couple of days, the Alcoa, the STZ, into the Citibank. We're going to show it to you. And that's what I'm trying to show you here, my friends. If you join our room, you got, again, we'll talk a little bit more about this in a second, but those first couple of weeks that you're with us, make sure you ask questions. Make sure you understand what we're doing. Make sure you understand what's happening here, because the last thing you want to do is if you hear us talking about something willy-nilly in the middle of the day, you're like, oh, that sounds like a good idea. No, no, no. Wait for the trades that have been working almost every time they show up and make money on those.
No, I think that's great. All the teaching you do, and then what happens? People are probably wondering, looking at this right now, saying, "All right, so I could have paid for my membership on this trade." What happens if you're wrong on a trade? You're not losing the full $1,000, are you?
Right? There's always a stop. And again, when you trade the stocks, again, there's a difference between your stock and your options. With the stock, it's even less risk because the option trade, obviously, percentage gain, percentages change. You buy a dollar contract, the trade goes wrong, usually down 50% pretty quickly. But luckily, these trades work out pretty well. When you're trading the stock, you got a little more wiggle room. So let's get to the daily routine, what we're talking about here. So basically, well, I've been up all night because I heard there was a new war breaking out, and of course, I was a little worried the
Another
market
one?
was going to go down today. Yeah, okay.
Another one?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah, yeah,
wars.
yeah. I heard there's some more wars breaking out. Nobody cares. But
Wow.
basically, I'm up at 7:30, and the banks obviously start reporting pretty early. So I'm looking at the banks, and I'm looking at the ebb and flow. I'm looking at the VWAP, and the VWAP starts to form as soon as the volume starts coming in. Again, if you got dribs and drabs of volume, VWAP's not going to be as handy. That's why, again, we're doing
Right.
this now when there is more volume. You get
When
more
does
volume,
material
this trade
volume
works a
start
lot
coming
better.
in?
So
When
between 7:30 and 9:15, we know exactly what we're doing and we know exactly what we're looking for. And then we're just waiting for that setup.
am I still here? Is it me or Kenny? Fuck, really? Are you sure it's not my internet? All right, everybody, 1 second. We're getting Kenny back. He froze up here. We're gonna get him right back. Am I still on, Gene? There he is. Here's the man. All right, Kenny.
You got me?
We're back. Hold on. Was just asking you
Yeah.
when does like actual like material volume start coming in the pre-market session each morning? 'Cause some of these companies report earnings like 7 a.m. Like
Well, right now, because of the degenerate economy that we're living in, this 24-hour market, I thought it
yeah,
was going to ruin this trade because of different kind of flows and you would get in volume. The
yeah,
VWAP takes all that into consideration. It doesn't care about the 600 share lots overnight. The
right,
gap is a little bit different, but the VWAP really starts kicking in when the volume kicks in. So 7:30, but that real move, and again, I like taking the trades where they're at the least risky as possible. That beautiful window between 9:45 and 11:30. Why?
yep,
Because now you've got the ebb and flow. The chart pattern starts to set up either your faux show or your blow
yep,
off tops. And then also for my option traders, trying to trade options at the open, good luck. The spreads are
right,
huge, they're
yep.
illiquid, and the market makers don't want to get ripped off, and they're not going to lend you a hand. They're not trying to help you. So they keep the spreads open. And before we go any further, let me just tell you this one thing. If you take away anything from this moment right now, never send market orders when you're trading options. Seriously.
Especially in the morning when the spreads are so wide.
You
They're
are
gonna hit
giving
you.
them permission to rob you. And even on the stops, it's stop and limit. And again, we talk about execution. Again, when you join our room, I'm there, baby. So I'm guiding you through this stuff and reminding you about all these little key subtleties of the market. And those little subtleties keep you in the game. This trade works awesome. You got to know about your execution. You got to know exactly what you're doing here. And I'm there every day. And again, we got about 250, 300 like-minded individuals in there as well. So why does this work the best? We talked about this earlier. Volatility is the highest. The
Yep.
volume is the heaviest. Institutional order flow just ripping. And of course, VWAP is institutional order flow. Next slide.
Great advice.
So, touched upon this earlier too. And again, I know I'm a handsome devil, 55. Look at me, beautiful. I have a
Amazing.
trustworthy face, right? Right.
Well,
I
I want to
want
age like you, bro.
I want you to see it to believe it because we do a lot of trades other than these earnings reports, but it's always around the same setup. And I'm always there guiding you. So when you start seeing this trade, and like I was saying earlier, you'll hear me going rah, rah, crazy. We're loving this trade. Oh my God, we're thinking about buying it. And then 4 hours later, we are crushing it. But if you're not hip to what we're doing, you're going to think you're getting flim flam. You're getting scammed. Some sort of shenanigans going on. But when you understand the ebb and flow of market mechanics around VWAP, you're going to understand this completely. So right now, like I said, this is the perfect storm. We just got started. And so far, what we got? APLD, kicked ass. STZ, ridiculous. Tilray, awesome. Alcoa, fantastic.
Yep.
I think we got a couple of other slides to get to, but this is the window right now because volume's pouring in. And of course, this market is awesome. Since COVID, day trading is back in a big way. There's more
Yeah.
activity. There's more people doing this. I got my little nephew doing this. My cousin, my friend just told me his 12-year-old son just saw me on TikTok and he's like, this Kenny Glick knows what he's talking about. The kid's 12. This kid's 12.
That's
I showed him one chart. This is my nephew also. I showed him one chart. I said, here's the VWAP. You want to look for strength coming off the VWAP. I'm at a basketball game with my nephew. He says, Unc, so let me get this straight. If a stock is rallying all day and it comes back and tests the VWAP and doesn't break it and starts to rally, I should buy the stock and use the VWAP as my stop? Yes, kid. And now you don't have to go to college. Tell Uncle Glenn.
how
And
long does it? Yeah. No, it's
yeah,
great.
good.
How long does it take most of your members once they come into the room? You're talking to them every day. You keep it interactive in your room. How long do you think it takes most people to get a knack for this and really to start learning the system?
Well, it's all about brain power. Some people just,
Right.
I don't know how well you did in school. It took me a lot longer to learn things than others.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
If my
Certain
parents weren't
processes.
teachers, yeah, I might not have made it through high school if it wasn't for my parents were teachers, my sister's a teacher, my uncle's a teacher. So yeah, but that's the thing. I'm there. I'm there, and that's what I love about it. And like I said, I didn't 20 years ago, if you told me I'd be this passionate about it, I'd say I'd be done by now. But these last 4 years have changed the game for me. Like I said, after COVID and the volume after COVID, day trading is so back. It's so back. And because now there's so many more vehicles to trade, zero date options, weekly options, futures, stock. I mean, it is just it's just a an amazing time to be a trader. And it's hard to stay focused because there is so much going on. This
No, but
keeps you focused. This keeps you focused.
this is such an important point because the way that the market has evolved just in the past 5 years, we couldn't do some of the things that we could do today. There's been like a renaissance in derivatives markets, really options trading that I
Absolutely.
never thought I would see in my lifetime. All of these markets have become so liquid. We got the leveraged funds too. There are so many different vehicles and opportunities and things that we could use as traders that just 5 years ago didn't even exist. So, I mean, it's really incredible. What a time to be alive.
Right. Renaissance. I love it. I think we're in
Yes.
a new industrial revolution. I mean, I've been talking again, if you guys Google me, I've been talking about this on Yahoo Finance on my spots. Space rockets, robots, quantum, AI, chips,
Yeah.
and the drones, and of course, rare earths and silver. Did I mention I've been buying silver since 1987? Yeah, if you met me, I mean, this could have been the one trade that you found. I've been buying bullion. I've been buying coins. I'm a real nerd. I got toys all over me. But
Kenny,
I've been a baseball card guy. I've been stacking silver, really getting aggressive when it got into the 40s, and just plain old market mechanics. 50 gets you 80. So when I was telling people, hey, listen, do not sell this silver. If it breaks 50, we're going to go to 80. Did I think
yep.
it was going to happen that quickly? No, but woo, baby,
And
this is
that's
awesome.
and
So
that's some long-term charting, okay? Mr. Day Traders out here looking at decade-long bases.
yes,
Kenny trades hot stocks, but he's the biggest silver bug I think any of us know. We've been talking
yeah.
about your silver coins for as long as I've known you, man. Good,
Yep.
good
I
job.
even I buy the 10 ounce. I love this poured stuff. I mean, I have it all over my house. I got it in the safe. I keep it at my mom's. And
It's
I
so
always have to remind my mom, don't throw away the baseball cards. And certainly don't touch I still have it in a Nike box somewhere in my drawer. Don't touch the Nike box.
it's so good.
What are
So
these
good.
coins?
No,
But
good for
yeah, I
you.
walk around with coins. I mean, I don't want to go crazy with the silver, but I just love it. I have this actually tattooed on my leg. You put a bull and a bear on a piece of silver, I'm in. I've got hundreds of these. And if you
It's,
you join the website, sometimes I give them out as free presents for Christmas. So
what's that coin called?
this was just the bull and bear. You know, anything you like. Again, this one has a bull on the front, and bear on the back. I love it all. But let's
That's
go back. Let's go talk about this JP
yeah.
Morgan. This was as
JP
early
Morgan.
as a
JP
couple of
Morgan.
days ago, right? So, earnings season got started, and, it would have been embarrassing a little bit, especially for the new guys that joined in. Again, if you joined, you caught the APLD, you caught the STZ. It sounds like a venereal disease. You caught the STZ.
Sounds like it.
You caught the Tilray. You caught the Alcoa. But then we were looking forward to this JP Morgan. Thank God it worked. I would have been a little bit embarrassed, but there it is. So again, what you're looking on that chart right there is that first big whipsaw. We're not involved. Let other people get chopped up. That's the reaction, the knee-jerk reaction to the earnings. That forms the range. That was a 10-point move. Fast forward into the opening, you see how it tried to rally, then it
Yep.
rolled. Call that the finger of God. And when
Yep.
you break through the 1 minute and the multi-day, boom, that's our entry. Once again, you're shorting the stock with a clear, defined trade. And again, when I say VWAP saved my life, this is one of those trades. Because as a shorter, like I said, the first thing I noticed was stocks don't like to stay down when they break back above the VWAP. But when they break today's VWAP and prior day VWAP, going back to the whole theory, JP Morgan's been on a run. I mean, this stock is up huge. Some of these bank stocks are up 300% in the last 6 months. So if you come in and you're thinking, all right, the numbers were good, maybe there's going to be some profit taking. Maybe there will be. You're going to be doing that when it breaks VWAP with that limited risk. And again, with 300 measly shares of JP Morgan, the stock fell 8 points. It was a $2,400 trade. And then here you go. So again, maybe you weren't trading the open because you didn't get a print on that put. You see how it reverted back to the orange line. This is the option trade, friend. This is the option trade. So you missed that first move, but then you had a nice re-entry at 275. and it just goes up 81%. And again, when you're trading options, the percentage gains tend to be, either 100, 200, 300%. And when you lose, again, they're going to be smaller losses, but when you hit some of these trades, you can have some loss in your life and still come out ahead.
So you flipped the book on this. Is this all on the same day or the next trading day?
Well, this was J.P. Morgan just that one day, and J.P. Morgan again. The just seeing the trend on J.P. Morgan made me super bearish, which led me into that next trade, which was Delta Airlines. Let me show you the Delta Airlines before we
And
go.
what do you mean by that? Just because JP Morgan was extended on like more of a primary time frame?
Yeah, I was looking for the short, but again, to hammer this point home, I'm not going to short JP Morgan because I think it's going down. I've taken my brain. This trade takes my brain out of the equation. I know I'm powerless to the market. VWAP is my savior. It gave me permission to short the JP Morgan. I don't do trades because I think something's going to happen anymore. That is how I've blown up, and that's how I've had some bad trades. So
Love
again,
that.
right back to this Delta Airlines, right? The earnings were good, bad, and different. The headline's over. I don't care. The news
Right.
is out, right? Now I'm looking for that specific setup. And again, look at this trade right out of the gate, blue line, right to that orange line. And again, for the shorter, if the shorter wanted to take advantage of that parabolic move, orange line, back to the blue. And again, with this trade, just like the other two, three I showed you, that's why this is replicable. It repeats. It's every day. So if you wait for your fake amount, shake amount, VWAP break, look at the trade right there, right after that first move where it came back to the blue and then reverts right back to the orange. These are
Yep.
day making trades. So when I say day making, our mantra on the website is make a day's pay and go away. I know
Love
I'm
that.
a fun guy to be around, and there's lots of trades throughout the day. But when you're a day trader, your job is to make money. So if you make money in the first 8 minutes of the day, for instance, if you go to work and you do a decent job and it's 9:40, the boss says, "Hey, good job. You want to go home?" Nah, I'm going to stay here. We do tend to stay because we're degenerates and we do keep finding winning trades. But in this business, less is more. And if you're getting
Yes.
paid in the first 15, 20 minutes of the day, you could even have another job and go to that after doing what is the hardest, easiest thing in the world. And I say it's the hardest, easiest thing because, again, your emotions get in the way, your fear gets in the way, your frustration gets in the way. This trade cuts through all that and just shows it to you right there in blue and orange.
How how many of your trades happen in the first whatever couple hours of the day? Like,
Oh,
could you be done? Could somebody come into your room, spend a couple hours in the morning, make some trades, do well, and then go play golf, or they got to stick around all day?
absolutely. What's up, West Coast? West Coast knows what I'm talking about because you got 3 hours earlier. You're
Yep.
getting out of bed. You're doing a Delta Airlines trade. You can even go
Mhm.
back to sleep, and then
Take a nap.
you got a whole day. When I was
Yep.
trading, I was chilling with a couple of guys for a couple of weeks in Huntington Beach back 15 years ago. We'd
Yeah.
wake up at 5:30. These guys wanted to go jogging. They went jogging. I waited, and then we got a few trades on, and I would literally just go back to sleep and wake up, and I'm like, oh, that's right. I just traded and made my day's pay, and then I would go to Venice Beach and hang out on the beach and have a good time. It is the
Fantastic.
greatest living you could possibly have. And again, it's the hardest, easiest thing you'll ever do. But once you understand that it's never easy, but this is the easiest way to do it, especially if you want to do this intraday. And by 11:30 East Coast time, a lot of this is done. That doesn't
That's
mean the
great.
day is over. Like I said, since COVID, the game, we are, again, like on a day like today, there's so much going on. There are
Yep.
days where your best bet is to just get that money and run. But
Mhm.
lately, man, you stay, again, the longer you stay, the more you pay. You know the line. But
Oh yeah.
it's just like a casino. I'm not gonna bullshit you. The longer you stay in the casino, what happens? You tend to give something back, and then your emotions get involved. You're up
Oh
eight
yeah.
hundred bucks for the day. You give back 400 on the next trade. What do you want to do? You're gonna leave? No. Now you want to make that 400 back, and now you're strapped in doing dumb stuff. This trade tells you not to do it. Wait for this trade. It'll come back the next day. There's always another one coming. The fear of missing out has been eradicated. And a
Yep.
lot of people, that is the downfall of their trading. The fear of missing out. this idea that they need to be active. Less is more, my friends. Less is more.
And I like what you were saying earlier too. Like it's okay to have, thoughts and opinions and views of the market, right? So you'll come in thinking a certain thing about a stock in the morning, but then you have rules in the process that kind of keeps your brain in check. I
Right.
think JP Morgan's probably a fade, but I'll believe it when I see it and then we'll act accordingly, right?
Precisely. You're nailing it right there. So I think there was a couple more trades that we wanted to talk about, but
Mhm.
let's go look at it was the Citibank one. That was the next one. That was as early as yesterday. Okay. And again, this was my only trade of the day. Not a bad day, right? Again, the stock,
Fantastic.
phenomenal. Again, because of what JP Morgan looked like, I came in looking to short Citibank. And what do I
Fun.
wait for? I wait for the 1 minute, the multi-day, give me my entry, and look at the stock. It basically just died all day. And this was the stock, again. And then I think we have a slide with the option prices. Again, if you're not trading stock, wonderful trade. 78-cent option. This was the 115 put. I know you don't have it up there, but this was the 115 put. It was a 78-cent option. And again, most of, again, we show you the exit price at $4. That's where we sold some. Proper trading, the way we love doing it, you buy an option at 78 cents and you sell some at $1.50. Now you have a riskless trade. So what we do is we sell some, we hold the rest, and hope for the best. And that's how
Yep.
you stay in this business for 30 years. You buying a
Yep.
contract, you're buying 20 contracts at 78 cents, you're selling 10 at $1.50. Now the 10 are free. And
Yep.
that's where you want to be. You want to be trading with free money. You want to be trading with house money. And that's what this trade was all about yesterday. And we just milked it and it was a fantastic trade.
This one really ran. And I do something similar. And what I found, taking those quick profits, right, at least getting your initial risk capital back, it frees up your mind to let the winners run. If you're
Right.
sitting there, you haven't taken any profit, something starts working for you immediately, there's a good chance you won't let that winner run too much. But if you could just take all that initial capital back, then you're like, hey, even if this thing moves against me, it goes as badly as possible from here. I'm break even at worst, right? I got my money back.
Absolutely. And by the way, I saw a question from Doug in the chat room. Great question. Thank you for answering that, Spence. Yeah, you got it right. I don't know what Keith is asking about $68,000 worth, but I guess you're referring to the stock. Generally when you're a day trader, most of us have at least 30 grand in an account. You're looking at 4x buying power. So generally you got about 120, you got 150 to $200,000 worth of buying power. Something like Goldman Sachs today. I know we're not going to talk about it, but on a $980 stock, not everybody's trading a $980 stock, but you could do it
Yep.
with 20 shares. 20 shares of Goldman Sachs today yielded you a $500 trade on 20 shares
There you
because
go.
the setup was there. So again, yes, it's all relative, but anybody with at least, again, you got 500 bucks in an account, it's going to be hard. I'm not going to bullshit you here, right? But if you got 5 grand to work with and you learn and stay very specific to this trade, next thing you know, you got a $500 option trade, you're doubling your money. Next thing you know, your account's at 6 grand. You
Yep.
hitting, you're sticking, you're moving, you're sticking and moving. By the way, my favorite
Happy
slide of
days.
the whole day right here. Which way are you going to choose? Right? I love
Mhm.
it. I love
Yes.
this, man. Because that was me. And I used to change I used to do this when I do this live. I talk about how everything over there is so enticing, but that over there works every time. And you tend to go over there because all those shiny objects, everybody's yelling and screaming. What's going on over there? Nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. But meanwhile, the path of righteousness is to your left. Go that way. And again, I can't stress this enough. I'm there in the room every day. And I
And
do pride myself in reminding people of all the mistakes that I've made, the laundry list of mistakes. As a matter of fact, a friend wrote a book about it. And when you join the website, you get a free book and a free pearl necklace.
I love how you're brutally honest about your past experiences, the mistakes you've made along the way. That is so crucial for new traders, right? Members to your service, because the learning experience you get from that, some of the stories you were telling the other day on Chart Summit are just so good. And I want to reiterate
Yeah.
that we're doing this live event today for a reason. Because I know Kenny's talking about trading the banks and trading Constellation already. Earnings season hasn't even started yet. The banks are boring. We haven't had big tech yet. None of the discretionary stocks have come out. The industrials are just coming underway. Like we're just starting here. A couple stocks in the S&P 500 have reported, but like this is go time. This starts right now.
Right. And I'm going to answer a question I think someone's going to ask. How do you know which ones to stay focused on?
Mm.
You got me. 30 years have been doing this. There is just stocks you don't want to trade. They're too illiquid. There's no options.
Yep.
I know which ones to choose from because inevitably 2 weeks from now, you're going to have 300 different names reporting. I know which ones to stick with. And again,
You're
as
you.
humans, you can't trade them all. You can't kiss all the girls as much as we want to, but I know where to focus. And again, you break it on down. What are you trying to do? You want to make money every day. This is our job. And I bring you where the food is. Again, I look at it as a hunter. I'll bring you where the meat is. You like fishing? Love fishing. I've been on the East Coast my whole life. I'll bait your hook. I know which lines to use. I know which reels. I know which line to use. I know where the fish are. I know what time to be there. So it's a big part of what we're doing. And then you'll start to see, it becomes that wonderful process. And then it becomes redundant and monotonous. And when making money is redundant and monotonous, you are good. You are good. So again, thank you for showing that screen right now. So right there, what you're looking at is what you're going to look at every day. And sometimes my silly face is in the corner.
Mm.
Sometimes it's a distraction because I'm weird looking. But normally you're going to see just the chart. And right there on the bottom are my scanners. All right. I got the best scan. Oh, got the best scanners. Scanners, freaking scanners everywhere. Got the best scanners. Those are the scanners that are just searching for the stocks that have the most volume on the list of earnings that we
Yep.
already established are the ones we want to look at. So
Right.
we're scanning for breadth of the mark on the upper right. I'm showing you the market maker boxes on a couple of stocks and the options. And then on the down the bottom, you'll see the scanner going on. So inevitably, you'll see stocks on the scanner. And even though if I'm not trading it, you'll go trade it because once you have that knowledge base of the faux show bro and the blow off top and understand how important this VWAP trade is, you're going to be your own trader, and that's our goal. We want you to be part of our community, but we want you to be your independent trader. And again, this is a very isolating business. At the end of the day, you're on your own. It's very isolating. It's very lonely, and we try to make it less lonely. And we're all there trying to help each other because we're all doing the same trades.
And this is great, and it's so important because not only are you going to come in and you teach people, but then you also equip them with the tools and the scans that they need, right? The different resources that they need to then go after they learn the system to do it on their own. Is that right? Whether it's the VWAP indicator that you have or some of these scans to help you find where the action is each day.
Yep, you got it. I mean, here's what you got it. If you read this slide aloud, I mean, this is what you get. And again, when we see 24/7, I have a partner. His name's Soligello. He was used to be a member, and this is one of my most. This is like a big proud daddy moment. This guy was a member of my room. I showed him this trade, and he ran with it and has helped me create new algorithms and new ways to look at VWAP.
So
He's invented something called your mama's VWAP, which is fantastic. He's got hourly VWAPs. He's got a setup where he's taken, like I said, what I showed him back in 2012 and 2013, and has run with it. And now this member of our room, he does a couple of hours in our room when he's feeling up to it. But most of the time he's doing private sessions, and he takes you guys under his wing. And like I said, the community that I built here is fantastic. And I just want to give it up for Soligello. You'll get to meet him when you're in the room, and he's just something to behold.
shout out Salagello, and that's so cool, and it really speaks to what you're doing here. That you have these like disciples now of taking the stuff that you've taught them and helped you create new things. It's fantastic, beautiful community.
Absolutely. Yep. So okay, now for the good part. So now you're wondering, all right, it's awesome, right? So now I'm
Uh
gonna bang you over the head with some numbers here. Show them the
oh.
numbers. Show them the
Oh.
numbers.
Next slide. Boom.
All right. So now you see that all this for the low price of $4.99, $14.99 for the month, or $5,000 for the year. Now again, $5,000 for the year. Think about what I said with that APLD trade. If you paid $5,000 to be in my room on day one, you put 10 lot contract on, or sorry, 10 contract size on APLD, you made $5,000 on your first day. But wait, because we're doing this, I think we're running a special here, right? My favorite part, right? The special. Come on, bring it home, Steve.
All right, guys. You come in today, you get the quarterly at $9.99, and that $5,000 for annual down to $3,500. Again, can't say this strongly enough. One trade pays your annual subscription here. One big winning trade, and right now is really the time to do it with earnings season kicking off. In a big way here.
Absolutely. And again, my favorite part of the entire endeavor, other than me telling you don't send market orders when you're trading options, you see the little print down there? 14-day risk-free offer, no questions asked. I run
Yeah.
AOL
No,
chat rooms. I've been doing this a
that's
long time. One
That's
of the
great. So
most,
make sure that you click below and get this deal now on the website. Still listed at the standard ticket price, but you could click the link below and go and take advantage of this deal. Kenny, do you want to talk a little bit about the VWAP charting tool that comes with the subscription plan?
yeah, well, let me just elaborate on that 14-day risk-free trial, right? And
Yeah.
when I say no questions asked, no questions asked, but you can ask questions while you're in the room. You're getting basically those 14 days. Everything's included. I'm there every day. You're going to meet
Yeah.
my friend Solid. You're going to meet the crew. You could ask people in the room how they're doing. And those first 2 weeks, you're going to know if this trade works or not for you. And, again, it speaks for itself. Most
Right.
people that join have been with me, and some of these guys have been with me since '07. I've been doing this a long time. So, yeah, let's
If
think about the script.
if you just hate Kenny's face so much, we'll give you your money back, no problem, in 2 weeks.
I
That
know
happens to
it
some
happens.
folks,
It happens.
All right, talk about the custom multi-day WAP.
All right. You see that orange line that we've been talking about, the multiple time frame? Again, let's bring back Brian Shannon, one of our heroes, that wrote the Bible again of VWAP. And if you don't know his book, here you go. Brian Shannon, Anchored VWAP by Brian Shannon, part two of a series. There you go. Enter now.
We both have it right next to our keyboards here, right?
Right next to the Stock Traders Almanac and the
Fantastic.
Bible of VWAP. Right,
I got
exactly.
one of those too. That's somewhere. That's hidden under my mail somewhere. Hold on.
When we first got this started, right? Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, we're so similar. It's scary. Uh, when we first got this going, right, back in 2011, 2012, this
Yeah.
script, we were just selling the script for 3 grand because nobody was making scripts. Now it's a thing. Now it's out there. A lot of people are using VWAP, but we're going to give you the script. No questions asked. And then you're going to meet my buddy Solid. And again, if you're not familiar with how to copy and paste, we're going to build the chart. You're going to have an exact replica of what I use on your screen. So
That's
then
so good.
anything you need to know will be right there. And again, once again, we pride ourselves as being interactive with you. Some guys just don't know how to copy and paste. We will help you copy and paste
Right.
it and make this the easiest transition into day trading that you could possibly imagine. Again, a lot of people, you're swinging trading, you're an investor. This is new. It's kind of, it might be a lot going on. You'll start to see this is like learning a new language. You're not going to
Yeah.
understand what anybody's talking about at first. That's why you ask questions, and then you'll start to see.
No, but that's special too. I mean, you're literally having like one-on-one sessions with people to make sure that they're taking full advantage of the custom indicator. You're showing them exactly how to use it, how to put the custom script into the platform, and then create their own chart so it pops up on their screen. They don't
Right.
need you.
And
It's
to the point
fantastic.
right here, right, you're going to know exactly where we're buying and where we're going to sell. So in those moments where I actually go on vacation, I'm married 25 years, I'm going to Iceland for about 10 days. I'm not going to be around. Don't panic. You'll have my screen. And you'll have the camaraderie of the room. There will be something going on in that room. Like I said, we never shut down. I might not be there for 5 or 6 days or 7 or 8 days, and hopefully we're not at war with Iceland at the time. But my 25th anniversary, we're going away. I'm going away in March. You're going to have it all set up for you, and hopefully, if you're joining us today, by March, you'll be ripping and rolling and rocking and being just right in with us in the next couple of weeks.
Fantastic. So good. Do we have questions that we want to hit
Yeah,
before
does anybody have
we
anything to ask? I love a question.
wrap this up? I don't see them, Spencer. If you could put the questions in the chat for us so that we could take a few. I'm sure that some questions came through here. If you could ping them to me.
I'll answer a couple of common questions about the small
Yeah.
account. That's the one I get a lot. Hey, I can't trade Goldman Sachs. Like I said, all of these trades, we trade real stocks. These are not small cap weird names. They're not, I'm not trading BlackRock today. Goldman Sachs is one of the biggest stocks I'll trade. But again, once you learn the setup, right? Even if it's 3 shares, get familiar what it feels like to make money even
Right.
3 shares. You make $30. I got an email today. Kenny, I took the first trade. I put 8 shares on. I made $24. I'm in. Great. I have a trader we call, well, I don't know if it's a woman or a man, the Wizard. And the Wizard started with a 5 grand account. One of these days I want to see if they want to get on film. They've already said no 10 times, but this was somebody with a $5,000 account that's been with us for years now, and they're up to
Wow.
30 grand. That's impressive.
Wow.
It can be
Impressive.
done just chipping away, taking, she trades Tesla, or he or she, I forgot whether it was a woman or man, but 3 shares of Tesla, 7 shares of Tesla. Today, 8 shares of Goldman Sachs, and you're doing it. $100 here, 200 here, limited
Yep.
risk, decent reward. A couple years later, and this is not their go-to job. This is somebody who trades just right in the morning, and then they go to their regular job. And I think it's an older, I'm pretty sure it's an older woman, and just a very cool success story. I love it.
Go to slide 66, Spencer. Because that's the right advice, right? When you come in and you're learning a new system, trade small until you get used to it. And then it starts working for you. You understand it. Okay. And you want to get big, then go for it. But you come in, you trade a little bit smaller at first. It's probably the right advice.
You got it, man.
Will this work in a bear market, Kenny?
Absolutely. I love bear markets. I'm a bear. I'm a very
Yeah, you
skeptical
do.
guy. Again, JC showed that slide with the with the bear in the bull suit. I am that guy. So,
People
because
call people call you the most bullish perma bear on Wall Street. You know this?
yeah, yeah, it's because it's impossible to be a bear in a market like this. It really is. I mean, it really is. That's it. There's nothing more to say. This market is just there's the underlying bid to this market is absolutely fantastic. Again, let's not talk about market environment. We'll talk more about that in the room when I see you. But it definitely works in a bear market. One of my best years of the last 5 years was 2021. I call it the Kathy Wood top. Coming out of COVID, everybody was excited about all these junky stocks like Teladoc and Roku and Zoom. We
Right.
saw multiple time frame VWAPs, the earning reports, they were gapping down. We were
Right.
crushing Kathy Wood all the way down to the Josh Brown bottom. I'll tell you more about the Josh Brown bottom some other time.
That's so good. But the truth is that the VWAP indicator, all the indicators that you use, and your overall process is directionally agnostic. You don't care if we're going up or down, what the trend is. It works in both directions.
Damn, you've got some good phrasing. Diastically agnostic. I love it. That's
Close.
nice. You did
Yeah,
well on your SAT, didn't you?
you could use it. Yeah, it's a good word, right?
I
It's a
got a
good word.
920. I don't know how I function in life.
I don't even think kids take SATs anymore, do they?
Nothing matters anymore, right? But all right, yeah. Oh, look at that. I answered this question before I even got to it. Can you do it with a full-time job?
Yep.
Absolutely. If I could ever get the wizard to come on with us. But there are a lot of people, especially West Coast. West Coast, man, if you get up early and you could bang out a couple of trades with us and then go to your regular job, it is a fantastic way to live. And again, it's being your own boss is my favorite part of all this because I don't, again, my parents did this to me, but I never really I used to get in trouble in school. Let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at that.
You could come in, I'm sure you did. You could come in, you moonlight as a trader for a while, you figure this out. If it starts really working for you, then you quit your job and you do this full time and you live like this guy, taking
Bill.
naps at 11 o'clock.
Yes. I am old. I love the 1 o'clock nap. I'm not gonna pretend.
A little siesta. Yeah.
Yes. So let's wrap this bad boy up because I want to get back and see what this market's doing. So silver's trying to recover right now, so getting excited.
All right, guys, here's what you get. You join Hit the Bid today. We don't run these deals too much. 3,500 gets you in. We usually sell this for 5,000. Remember, that comes with everything, the custom VWAP indicator, the one-on-one sessions. You get full access to Kenny's live trading room starting at 7:30 every day, 24/7 chat, the VWAP watch list and the VWAP charting tool. If you want to do the quarterly to try it out, $9.99, also running a big sale there. I just want to say before we wrap, Kenny is one of the great traders out here doing this. I don't come on and do these events with everybody. I truly believe in this guy and everything that he's doing. I've learned a tremendous amount. I think it's incredible. But he's not just going to bring you into his room and give you, consistently deliver big profits. He's going to teach you as you go how to operate in the market and how to be a real trader, right? So you get that too. And that's as important or more important than any of this, right? He's going to teach you how to trade, how to use these tools to your advantage, how to become the smart money. I think it's absolutely fantastic. What a deal we're running. Do you have any closing thoughts, my friend?
Closing thoughts is, yeah, that I've embraced everything that I've done. Again, it's taken me 30 years to accept the fact I know nothing, and this VWAP trade is a shining beacon of hope, not just for me, but for you. It really does cut through a lot of the nonsense of this industry, and it instills the discipline. That's the hardest thing for me. Again, sitting here, idle hands of the devil's workshop. I forgot what movie that was from, but you tend to do some dumb stuff. This trade instills all the discipline you need. So just for this low price, you get to hang out with the guy that's been doing this for 30 years. Come and meet my crew. You're not going to be disappointed.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kenny. And thank you all for joining us today. Click below. Make sure you take advantage of this special offer. See you guys tomorrow.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. Exactly. Take care. Good luck, everybody.
Adios.